Now, one of the ways to do a car racing game is to do an aerial view. So, first of all, let's create a track. Now, on our stage, which is our background, we're going to draw a track for our cars. Now, if I go to the Backgrounds tab and then go Edit, it almost looks like a drawing program now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw myself a track. Let's choose the paintbrush size. Let's go for something quite large. I'm going to go for a grey colour, I think. And what I'll do now is I'm just going to draw myself a racing track for my cars. And you'll notice this is very similar to paint. So I'll do a bit of green, do a bucket, like that, and click OK. So now what I've got is I've got myself a little racing track, however I've got a cat in it. Let's turn my cat into a car. It's probably a bit big to drive around the track, so what I'm going to do is just choose Sprite 1. It's on the costumes already, so if I now edit this, if I click on Clear to get rid of my cat. Now I'm going to keep my car rather simple. Let's choose black. Made a little mistake there, Control Z, get rid of that, start again. Do a tyre, followed by another tyre. And choose, shall we go for red? I got myself a little car with some wheels. Okay, click OK. So now I've got myself a little car which I'm going to need to get it to move. For my car to move, I'm going to need to add some scripts. So if I click on scripts, let's do a bit of control. So when a particular key is pressed, rather than the spacebar, let's change that to the left arrow. What do I want it to do? Well, I want it to turn left a little bit. So here you'll see turn, the arrow is pointing to the left, 15 degrees. Okay, but once I've set that up, if I now move the left arrow, I can get my car to rotate, like so. So now I'm going to do the right arrow key. So change that to the right arrow, and this time the motion is going to be turned to the right, 15 degrees. So now if I use, you can see over here, my left arrow changes the direction, my right arrow goes that way as well. Now I'm going to get my car to move forward. I'm going to bring a little bit of control in here. So when I push the green flag, I'm going to want it to go forward. Move it forward a little bit. Actually 10's probably too much. So I'm going to just reduce that to 1. See how that goes. And I'm going to want this to happen continuously. So let's get it to go forever. Place that inside my little forever loop. So now when I push the green flag, I could get my car to go, and I can now move the left and right arrow keys to get my car to go around the track. Now the only problem here is that it's allowing me to go anywhere on the screen. So let's just stop that. Have it so that if my car hits the green grass, it explodes. That's what we're going to aim for now. So what we're going to need to do is I'm going to get it to come up with a question and then sense whether it's green. So let's go to control. So we're going to need an if here. Let's pull that in, if. So if the car basically touches green, then do something. So if we've got this statement here, now you'll notice there's another hexagon shape in here. I need to find a hexagon to drop it in. So if it's touching the colour, well, not grey, what's that, grey blue, I click on that, it gives me a little droplet, and if I just click on the green, that changes to green. What do I want it to do? Well, I could get it to do a number of things. One thing is to explode. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my costumes, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my costume, and you'll notice now I've got two identical ones. I'm going to edit this second one, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a bit of an explosion. Let's make it look like it's caught fire. A bit more yellow again. So hopefully that will, maybe it doesn't look that authentic. Let's click OK. Okay, that looks like it's exploded. Okay, so back to costume 1. So now on the scripts, when it does touch the green, I'm going to get it to change its look. I'm going to get it to switch to costume 2. Costume 2 is the one when it's on fire. And then I do need to get it to stop. So under my control, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get it to stop my script. Now where am I going to place this? Well, my car is moving one step forward all the time here, so I'm going to just drop this inside my forever loop, and now it starts to look rather complex, but if I build it up slowly, I'll have an idea of what I'm doing. So now, when I push the green flag, I'm going around my track. When I hit the green grass, it changes my costume to costume 2, and it stops, so I can't continue the game. And when I push the green flag again, it does allow me to carry on, but what I want it to do now is to go back to the beginning, which in fact I'm just going to pick up my car and take it back to the beginning of the track. Go to costumes, just click on costume 1 and get it to face the correct direction. So what I want to do is at the start of every game I want it to get it to move here. Now you'll notice the position of this is x is minus 45 and y is 80. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have it so it goes there permanently. So I could have it within this forever loop, but I'm going to cheat, because what you can do to make it look a little bit less confusing is to have another green flag. When it's clicked, have it so it first of all changes the sprite. So let's switch to costume 1, which is the one where it's not exploded, and then get it to move to, which is the motion, get it to go to x is minus 45 and y is 80. So now when I click on my green flag, in fact, if I just move this car out of the way to show you, when I click on the green flag, it drops back to the beginning. And if I crash that, hit the green flag, whoops. Now you'll notice that when I push the green flag, what it's not doing is pointing in the correct direction. So what I also needed to do is to point to the right. So get it to point 90 degrees. So now it's going back to the beginning. It's pointing in the right direction, and it's changing it back to costume 1, just in case you crashed. Now it's not much fun just with one car. In fact, what I'm going to need is 2 cars, so maybe a second person can race. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this sprite and I'm going to copy it. So if I go right click over this and go duplicate, I can now have 2 cars. Except for both of them are red. So the first thing I need to do is on the second one is go to the costume, is to edit it, and then to change the colour. So if I change it to maybe a blue car, click OK. So I've now got a red and a blue car. Now you'll notice when I click go, what's actually happened is both cars are being put on the same spot, because both of them have exactly the same code. Actually, both of them are controlled by the left and right arrow. So there's a couple of things I need to change. First of all, I need to move the blue car a little bit. Kind of moving it down to say 60. So here, where I'm going to y is 80, I'm going to need to change that to say 60. Let me keep this as minus 45, so it's starting roughly in the same position. So that's the first thing. So if I hit now play, you'll see that both of them are starting from a similar position, but now they're not on top of each other. And I need to control my blue car by changing the keys. Now, the arrow key is on the right hand side of the keyboard, so on the left, maybe I'll make it Z and X. So left, I'm going to have as Z, and the right arrow I'm going to have as X. So now, when I hit play, I don't know if I can control it. Let's try again. So I'm trying to control both cars here, one with the arrow keys and one with the ZX. In fact, I think both of them can still crash. That looks good fun. One of the last things to do is to put a finish line on the track. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm just going to edit my background picture. Just go to this and choose a colour, preferably one that I've not used as yet. Let's choose yellow. I haven't used yellow, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line across my track, which I'm going to have as my finishing line. Now, when I have the cars go on it, so I choose the scripts, just move these up a little bit to make it a little bit clearer. So I've got this as my 1. What I want it to do now is, if it ever touches the yellow, what I want it to do is to say that the car is the winner, plus stop everything. Now again, I can put this in the forever loop, but I'm going to cheat a little bit to make it a little bit simpler and have another forever here. They can be both running at the same time. And in here I'm going to have an if. So I've got an if side here. Now if it's ever touching, so that's on sensing. If it's ever touching the colour yellow, so let's change this one. This is going to be very careful, get the yellow. Got it? So if it's ever touching yellow, what do I want it to do? Well, I want it to say that that they've won. So I say, well, not hello. What was my first colour? I think it was red. So red car wins. Okay, and I also want it to stop, otherwise the other car will continue. So in fact I could even get it to say stop all. Now unfortunately I need to do the same thing for the other car as well. Now this is when you were probably, in hindsight, maybe I should have done this before I copied the cars. So let's just run through that again. So what did I do? I had a forever loop. Then I had an if statement. Then I was looking for it touching that colour, so sensing if it's touching the colour yellow. Then I wanted it to say something, so that's looks. Say not hello. This time it's the blue car. And then finally I wanted it to stop everything. Actually, one thing I will just check that this is the blue car. Yep, that's good. It's the blue car. And then go to the other one. Check it. Yep, that's the red car. So now when I hit race, now of course we are assuming that I can control both cars. Ooh. Not so easy. Just trying to control both cars with 2 hands. So which one's going to cross the line first? And it's the blue car wins.